The presence of God is unlike anything I've ever known. It never fluctuates or depends on my emotional state, life circumstances, or the strength or weakness of my faith. I used to think that God would only be present when I truly desired Him or when I was living righteously. But then I realized that He is always by my side, regardless of how I feel. Even when I don't pray, don't call upon His name, or when I forget that He is there, His presence never diminishes. God is not a special guest whom I must meticulously prepare to welcome, nor is He hastily trying to find His way to me each time I'm in trouble. In fact, He has never left me, not even for a single moment. He does not wait until I perfect myself, nor does He appear only when everything settles down. Instead, He is always present completely and continuously in every place and every moment of my life. Being aware of this presence makes me feel incredibly secure and at peace, because I know that even at my weakest or loneliest moments, God is fully present with me, not on His way, not about to arrive, but already right here, close and loving. It's an unconditional, eternal, and complete presence for which I am forever grateful. The name Jehovah Shammah carries a special power, an incredibly profound meaning that, once I understood it, completely transformed the way I viewed God and my own life. Jehovah Shammah means, the Lord is right here, not somewhere distant, not just in old historical stories, nor merely a vague promise about some distant future. Instead, Jehovah Shammah affirms a simple yet powerful truth. God is right here, precisely where I am standing, living, and breathing in this very moment. Many times, I mistakenly thought that God's presence was just beautiful memories from the past or distant hopes for a better future. But in reality, His presence goes far beyond that. The name Jehovah Shammah emphasizes that He is always and continuously present in the here and now, even in the most ordinary moments, from when I wake up in the morning until I close my eyes at night, from moments of radiant joy to quiet times filled with tears. He is always present, never missing even a single breath I take. Jehovah Shammah is a powerful reminder that I am never alone. No matter how difficult or challenging life may become, even if I feel left behind or lost, God remains right there, clearly present, lovingly, and ready to lift me up. Understanding this truth makes me stronger and more peaceful than ever before, because I know that no matter which road I walk, Jehovah Shammah, the Lord who is right here, is walking alongside me every day, every hour, and every moment of my life. When I think about the future, I often feel as if I'm standing before a thick fog, uncertain about the path ahead and unclear about what awaits me. There are things in the future that fill me with worry and fear, situations that I haven't even dared to imagine. But then I realize that, even in that frightening uncertainty, God has always been present. He isn't just observing my life from afar, nor is He waiting to appear only after I take the next step. In fact, He has already entered my future even before I arrive there. Precisely in moments when I feel weakest, trembling at the thought of events that haven't happened yet, I'm reminded that God's presence has already covered everything. He is not only in bright and comforting places, but also present in the darkest, most distant corners, places where I once believed I'd be completely alone. No matter where the future leads me, regardless of how foggy, dangerous, or unsettling the road ahead might become, God's presence still surrounds me, always ready to guide, protect, and comfort me. It's this realization that God is already there, in everything the future could bring, that helps me live with profound peace and confidence. He goes before me, preparing the way. He is present even in the smallest details that I can't control or predict. I no longer need to fear what hasn't yet happened, because I clearly understand that every step I take has already been secured by Him. He is the light in the darkness of the future, the guide who leads me, and my most steadfast refuge. Thus, I walk forward confidently, knowing without a doubt that God has been, is, and will always be present ahead of me. One of the deepest comforts I've ever heard comes from the words of King David in Psalm 139:7-10. This passage isn't merely composed of beautiful words. It's a powerful and clear affirmation of God's unlimited presence in each of our lives. David asked a question that feels profoundly honest and close to my heart. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? And the answer comes immediately. Whether I ascend into heaven or make my bed in the deepest depths, whether I run away to the most remote and desolate lands, God is always there. Nothing can separate me from Him. This affirmation carries incredible power. It helps me understand that there is no place in this world, nor any situation in my life, that could ever cause God to abandon or forsake me. He is fully present in every moment, every place, even if I deliberately try to avoid Him, or unconsciously feel lost and alone. This means that even in moments when I'm at my weakest, loneliest, or most discouraged, God persistently remains present, guiding me through those difficult times. Psalm 139 also reminds me that God's presence isn't limited by any space or time. Whether I am at the highest peak of joy or submerged in the deepest darkness of sorrow, He is there, always ready to support, protect, and comfort me. This realization brings profound peace to my heart and empowers me to courageously walk through any circumstance. I never need to fear being lonely or left behind, because I know God walks with me every single step of the way. His love and care aren't conditional. They cannot be restricted by anything in this world. Exactly as David said, there is nowhere I can flee from the merciful and steadfast presence of God, a presence that always walks beside me, surrounds me, and protects my life. When I reflect on God's presence, I often picture an infinite love and extraordinary love that can't be explained with mere words or ordinary logic. As humans, our presence and attention are always limited by time, space, and even our own energy. We frequently have to choose to be with one person or another, do this or do that, because we simply cannot do everything simultaneously. But the amazing thing is, God is not like us. He is never constrained by anything. No time or circumstance can limit Him, and His love is always more than enough for all of His children. I often think about this and find it hard to believe, yet it's the most beautiful truth I have ever known. God is completely and simultaneously present with each and every one of us, no matter where we are or what we're going through. He never has to weigh or choose who deserves more or less of His attention. He never needs to divide His time or energy or think about who needs Him the most, because, to God, all of us are equally precious, and we all have His full attention. This means that whether I am experiencing my greatest happiness or deeply immersed in sorrow, I can always be certain that I am never forgotten by God. He never arrives late, nor does He ever overlook even the smallest detail of my life. When I face difficulties and cry out for help, I never have to worry that God might be busy elsewhere with someone else or doing something more important. No, He is always right here beside me, as if I were the only person He cares for. This truth gives me an absolute sense of security, a profound reassurance. It reminds me that even when life becomes chaotic or unstable, I can remain calm, knowing God is always there, always beside me, always caring, fully present, and never overlooking me, not even for the briefest moment. Sometimes in life, I've faced an aching question: where is God? I used to think He had left me, abandoning me alone in my struggles and hardships. But then I realized the truth wasn't like that at all. God has never once left me, never been absent. He has always been fully and completely present by my side. The issue wasn't with Him, the real issue was within my own heart and mind. Our minds often get swept away by anxieties, fears, and countless other distractions from our daily lives. When I'm confronted with pressures at work, worries about the future, or wounds from the past that haven't healed yet, all these things pull my attention away from God. My focus then turns solely to negativity, and soon I start to feel as if He has vanished from my life. In reality, God has always stood right there, quietly and patiently waiting for me to turn back toward Him. This is similar to standing in a noisy, chaotic room. Even though the person I love the most is standing close by, trying to talk to me, the surrounding noise is too loud for me to clearly hear their familiar voice. Likewise, the noise of anxiety, worry, and burdens in my heart has drowned out God's gentle whispers. It's not that He has become silent, nor that He has left mates, that I have allowed these anxieties to overshadow His voice. Realizing this has helped me understand that whenever I find myself asking, "Where is God?" I need to pause, take a deep breath, and set my worries aside, turning my heart toward Him. When I let go of anxieties and distractions, I begin to clearly sense God's gentle yet powerful presence surrounding me. I realize He has always been there, waiting patiently with unconditional love. Now, whenever I feel lonely or lost, I know exactly what I need to do. I must be still, calm my heart, and turn my gaze toward God, allowing His voice to rise above every fear within me. It's in those moments when I truly turn toward Him that I finally notice He has never left. He remains present, patient, loving, and waiting for me to once again clearly experience His endless love and constant presence. There's an important truth I've gradually realized on my faith journey. God is always present, but what He truly desires from me is my attention, awareness, and sincere trust in Him. God doesn't simply exist like an invisible guest quietly tucked away in a hidden corner of my life. He is present with all His love and power, patiently waiting for me to recognize His wonderful presence so that my relationship with Him can become more vibrant and profound than ever before. God never forces or compels me to trust Him. Instead, He patiently waits, gently encouraging me to turn my eyes and heart toward Him. He desires that I pause in the midst of my busy life, taking moments of silence to clearly sense His peaceful presence. I understand now that becoming clearly and deeply aware of God's presence is the key to fully experiencing the comfort and peace He has promised me. There have been days when I struggled on my own, wrestling with worries and exhaustion. I forgot that God was always right beside me, ready to grant me strength and peace. But then I realized that all I needed to do was stop, take a deep breath, and turn my mind toward God. And suddenly everything became clearer. I began to experience the gentle yet profound comfort from His presence, a comfort I could never create for myself. This awareness has completely transformed how I live each day. Now I understand that clearly recognizing God's continuous presence in every moment is essential for living in true peace. God is always there, but the deep experience of His presence only comes when I actively trust Him and open my heart to Him. That's when I truly see that He is always by my side, deeply caring about even the smallest details of my life. Therefore, every day, I remind myself that God not only wants me to know that He exists, but also longs for me to live in profound awareness of Him. It is only when I fully trust and embrace His presence with my whole heart that I truly live in the comfort and peace that only God Himself can provide. In life, each of us has moments when we must face our deepest darkness, times when our souls feel completely drained and lost. I'm no exception. I've experienced moments of loneliness, when it seemed that no one could truly understand me, moments when all I could feel were weakness, hurt, and despair. In those moments, I questioned whether anyone still cared or was still there beside me. Then I realized that precisely in those darkest and most desperate moments, God had never left my side. He doesn't only appear in bright, joyful, and pleasant days. He remains right there, even when I'm immersed in the deepest darkness. At times when I couldn't even whisper a prayer, when my mind was clouded by doubt and pain, it was God alone who silently stayed by me, patiently waiting and embracing me with His infinite love. God has never abandoned me, no matter how many mistakes I've made or how many failures I've endured. Instead of scolding or turning away, He comes near to me gently, like a compassionate father waiting patiently for his beloved child to return home. He never walks away when He sees me stumble, nor does He ever lose patience or become disappointed. On the contrary, He always opens His arms wide, welcoming me back, wiping away every tear, and carefully bandaging every wound within my soul. God's presence in my darkest moments is like a gentle yet powerful light, enough to illuminate my path out of darkness. I've realized that He doesn't merely stand aside, watching me struggle. Rather, He steps directly into the storms of my life to shelter, protect, and comfort me with His loving presence. That's why now, when facing stormy days, I'm no longer filled with fear or despair as I once was. I understand that no matter how many ups and downs or trials I face, there is always a Father beside me, God. A God who loves persistently and is always present, never leaving me, even for the smallest fraction of a moment. And that is the reason I can continue to walk forward confidently and full of hope. There's a truth that deeply moves me whenever I think about how God sees us and calls us by name. God has never defined us by our mistakes, failures, or by the worst things we've ever done. Instead, He always calls us by names filled with love, forgiveness, and infinite mercy. He calls me chosen, beloved, and redeemed, words that I know I'm undeserving of, yet He always sees me in the most beautiful way. Throughout life, there have been many times when I wandered away from the right path, lost in poor decisions, and sometimes I wondered if my mistakes ever disappointed God. But then I realize that He never looks at me with disappointment or criticism. Instead, God patiently remains by my side, even when I don't recognize His presence. He doesn't merely observe me from afar. He actively steps right into my life, fighting unseen battles to protect me from dangers that sometimes I don't even realize exist around me. God is not like the outside world, where we're often judged by our successes, achievements, or our past. He sees the deepest essence within each of us. He sees our hearts full of potential and true worth, even when we're stuck in our failures. When I feel the most defeated, He doesn't call me by negative names that I often give myself, like failure or abandoned. Instead, He gently reminds me that I am chosen by Him, redeemed at an immeasurable cost, and loved by Him unconditionally. The way God calls my name, the way He always believes in the best within me, has given me profound hope and strength. His persistence and faithfulness have helped me rediscover myself, confidently overcoming past mistakes to live more fully, courageously, and gratefully each day in His amazing love. Life is always filled with things we cannot control or predict. Sometimes I find it truly challenging to face an uncertain future, unsure of what plans will unfold next. In those moments, I've realized that I need to learn to trust in the perfect timing and the divine plan that God has already set for my life. God always has a clear, perfect, and detailed plan for each of you, even if right now I can't fully understand what that plan involves. There are days when I wonder if He's truly doing something in my life because I don't sense any movement or change at all. But then I recognize the truth. God has already gone ahead into my future long before me. He doesn't just walk alongside me in the present. He has prepared even greater things than I could ever imagine or expect. Trusting in God's timing means accepting that His plans don't always align with my personal desires or my own schedule. But I've come to understand that delays or what I perceive as failures are part of a larger, better plan that God has uniquely designed for me. He has already prepared the path ahead, path full of meaning, peace, and hope. This deep trust has given me strength and courage to overcome challenging days. Instead of worrying or feeling anxious about the future, I now know that I can remain calm and secure, because God holds every detail in His hands. He is never hurried or late, but always appears exactly at the right moment. I choose to trust Him and walk forward in faith, knowing that the road ahead, though possibly different from my original plans, will always be the best path, because it is prepared and guided by God Himself every single day.